Good evening. I'm Dana Tyler. We begin tonight with the murder rocking Chinatown. A 35-year-old Korean-American woman was killed in her apartment early Sunday, allegedly by a homeless man who'd followed her from the street.
At 4:15 a.m. on the 13th of February, 2022, after an evening get-together at a bar with some friends, New York resident Christina Yuna Lee was returning back home to her 6th-floor apartment on Christie Street, a street located on Manhattan's Lower East Side in Chinatown. However, unbeknownst to Christina, a homeless man who would later be identified by cops as 25-year-old Asabin Nash was following closely behind Christina, lurking within the dark. CCTV footage taken via cameras from inside of the apartment complex during the time of the murder was later obtained by NYPD for their investigation and would show the horrific set of events that unfolded that morning and the very last time that Christina would ever be seen alive. Nash should be identified on CCTV, mercilessly stalking Christina whilst keeping just enough distance to not be noticed by her, as she continued to climb the 6 flights of stairs to her apartment. As Christina began opening her apartment door, Nash suddenly sprinted up behind her and forced himself inside of her apartment. It all allegedly happened so fast that she was unable to realize what had just occurred until it was already too late. Christina would begin to run towards her bathroom in the hopes of being able to lock herself inside and get away from Nash, but he would unfortunately end up catching up to her before she could do so. Once inside, he would begin trying to sexually assault Christina in the bathroom, but would later become frustrated as she continued to punch and scratch him with all her might. And in a fit of rage, Nash stormed out of the bathroom and into the kitchen to retrieve a weapon. He would proceed to grab a yellow-handled kitchen knife from the knife block, which was stationed on the counter, as his weapon of choice. He would later use this knife to horrifically stab Christina to death a few minutes shortly after. Christina's horrific and panic cries for help throughout the ordeal would finally warrant 2 young women across the hall to notify authorities. Shortly after the call was made, officers would finally arrive to the apartment complex and would attempt to open the door to Christina's apartment, only to find that it was locked. Her desperate screams for help could still be heard throughout the building, but eventually, those cries for help would turn into a deafening silence. The silence would abruptly be broken by the voice of another person from inside the apartment, saying, quote, "We don't need the police here. Go away," end quote. As police continued fiddling with the door, Nash tried to flee by using the fire escape, but was spotted by a police officer who happened to be on the roof, at which point he slipped back inside of the apartment. Suspecting that something was wrong, police would call in a specialized police unit to come and break down Christina's apartment door in order to gain entry. And at approximately 5:40 a.m., they would finally bust down the door. Inside, an absolutely horrific and gruesome scene would be waiting for police. They would find Christina dead in the bathtub in a pool of her own blood. They would also discover Nash hiding under Christina's bed after he had killed her and hidden the murder weapon behind a dresser. The second voice that police heard whilst trying to break down the door was later revealed to be that of Nash's, as he unsuccessfully tried to deter police away from the apartment complex. Nash was arrested immediately and taken into police custody, all the while claiming that he had tried to, quote-unquote, help the lady. After receiving treatment and a brief evaluation at Bellevue Hospital in New York City, he was sent to Rikers Island, where he was locked up until the day of his trial. And on the 16th of March 2022, Nash was arraigned at the Manhattan Supreme Court on charges of first-degree murder, burglary, and sexually motivated burglary. He showed absolutely no emotion throughout the trial as he sat in his seat, stone-faced. Lord Ward, the judge overlooking his case, would order that he be held without bail. Prosecutors state that Nash will most likely be facing a minimum of 25 years up to a maximum of life in prison without the possibility of parole if he is convicted. Christina lived in the apartment for less than a year, as stated by the apartment owner. She was described by the apartment owner, her family, friends, and coworkers as being a kind-hearted, bright, and intelligent person who lit up the world and brought out the best in everybody around her. As Christina's mother states, her loss is an unfathomable tragedy that her loved ones and her community will struggle with for years to come. A vigil was held the following Monday morning in Christina's honor, and thousands of Chinatown workers and residents would show up to voice their concerns to the media and to mourn the loss of a bright and beautiful person whose life was tragically cut short. Roses and other thoughtful memorabilia continues to accumulate outside of Christina's apartment to this day, serving as a reminder that she will continue to be loved by many and forgotten by none. Christina's family has set up a GoFundMe and is asking for help in reaching the $500,000 goal in order to establish the Christina Yuna Lee Memorial Fund. All donations sent to this memorial fund will be dispersed to multiple charities and organizations. So far, $100,000 has already been allocated to the following: the Prospect Park Alliance, Womankind, Planned Parenthood, Elizabeth Street Garden, and Safe Walks. If you'd like to send a donation, I will leave a link to the GoFundMe in the description below, as well as in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next video.